5:35, motioning to call today's meeting, February 22, 2023. At 5:35, I call this meeting to order.
Okay. So do roll call. Sigifredo Perez, Oscar Butron,
Present.
Osvaldo Guzman, Lisa Paul,
President.
Sylvia Bruni,
Present.
Alfonso de la Garza,
Present.
Dr. James Cortez, Daniel Elizondo, Adolfo Martinez.
And present.
We do have a quorum. We do have general citizens communication. First person would be Patricia G. Soto. If you have 3 minutes, you'd like to come to the podium and introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Patricia Soto. Thank you for having me here and listening to my concern. Okay, as a citizen, in good faith, I believe Ms. Alisa Cigarroa and Melissa Cigarroa on the date of January the 24th, both of them should have recused themselves from the meeting at that time, but in different, if you see the meeting from January the 24th, is there in black and white where they participated. They can attend as the Code of Ethics states, but they didn't recuse themselves of making any public comments in reference to what they thought was right and was wrong in that manner. Melissa Cigarroa and Alisa demand to strike down or after the results of a health study from in a third party because she doesn't like the results. That's what it shows in the video as well. Staff report with possible action regarding health management and Association Laredo Health assessment. The video in the streaming showed Melissa what she says because I agree and talk about the motion and states that she definitely wants the motion not to be made. In Laredo City Council, there was a special meeting on January the 24th, and as well, like I said in my complaint, how they violated different code of ethics, which is conflict of interest. That was conflict of interest to avoid appearance and risk of improperty. Official or employee shall not take an action he or she shows it's likely to affect the economic interest of the family. His or her parent, child, spouse. Dr. Cigarroa was also as well here, and also he made also a public speech as well at the end, towards the end of the meeting on January the 24th. And on the outside, also it says here the Code of Ethics on line 5 as well. It's an outside employee or an official employee of his or her parent, child, spouse, or member of the household. Business entity in which the official or employee knows that any of the persons listed subsections would affect their business. And it comes out streaming, I know the times in the videos where it comes out streaming at 1 hour 32 minutes, and then 1 hour and 23 minutes, Alisa, and then also Mr. Cigarroa as well. It comes out here, an hour and 53 minutes as well. It comes out in the video as a streaming as well. They should have abstained from the actual meeting, and they chose not to. They were put in their.
You have your 3 minutes.
Huh?
Your 3 minutes are up.
Oh, okay. Well, it's stated in my complaint
Yes.
as well. Yeah, it's here in the complaint as well, the sections and the subsections of the Code of Ethics. Thank you.
I'll wait for my item.
For your item?
Yes. Yeah, 'cause, a public comment can be either before the meeting or at the time of the item is presented, correct?
is correct, yes.
Minutes of approval for July 14th, 2021.
I make the motion to approve the minutes of July 14, 2021.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion, call for the question.
No discussion.
Discussion to appoint a chairperson pro tem and
Oh,
vice chair.
was everybody in favor?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Say aye, please.
All in favor?
Anybody against?
Even though we weren't present, we can still vote?
Yes.
Yes, the minutes are laid out in, I believe, section 2 of the binder that was provided to everyone.
On to section 4. Section 4, letter A. To appoint a chairperson pro tem and vice chair.
So I think the appointment is just limited to this meeting today. I guess I can nominate myself for chairperson and somebody else we will need for vice chair, if anybody. But first, I guess I'll nominate and see if anybody has a motion to approve or.
So there's a motion to nominate himself, Mr. Adolfo Martinez. Is there a second?
I'll second the
Okay. Call for the question. All those in favor of Mr. Adolfo Martinez as the chair, or discussion? Is there any discussion about that?
No.
Okay, so all those in favor of Mr. Adolfo Martinez's motion, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous? Okay.
Okay, now-
Congratulations.
Thank you. Now, vice chair. Anybody would like to nominate themselves?
Okay, guys, you can nominate yourselves if you'd like. If you think you're the right person for the job.
I nominate Ms. Brewer.
Okay, there you
Okay,
go.
all motion.
There's a second on that motion. Any discussion?
No.
Okay, we'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous? Congratulations, Ms. Bruno. Okay. All right, now, on to letter B. Mr. Chairperson, you have the floor.
Yes, so I believe there was a 3-minute, or no, this is next on the agenda is going to be the presentation of legal sufficiency for independent counsel, which is acting as the ethics compliance officer, and this is regarding a complaint filed by Ms. Karina Elizondo, who is, I believe, present here today. She is the director of the Animal Control Services Department. The complaint was filed January 11, 2023. It alleges violations of the City of Laredo Ethics Code, particularly Section 201, unfair advancements of private interest, and any other related matters there too.
Hi, good afternoon. For the record, my name is Karina Elizondo. I am here through public comments just so I can make sure that I secure a venue to speak to you all today. This is a new setting for me. I don't know exactly specifics as to the legacy sufficiency setting, and we're gonna have an opportunity to speak, but there are certain things that I would like to bring to the board. Particularly, I want to explain certain things that have evolved since the filing of my complaint, and I would like to, I made a copy of my public comment just in case I got too nervous to actually fully and clearly explain my position. So again, my name is Karina Elizondo, I'm the complainant. I stand before you today to implore that this commission truly appoints truly appoints an experienced and unbiased outside counsel ethics compliance officers. Since the filing of my complaint, many violations have evolved on the handling of this complaint by the city attorney and by the outside counsel. Section 8.04 complaints and Section 8.06 under assessments calls for a setting to determine the jurisdiction and the legal sufficiency prior to an evidentiary hearing. Yet, this was not done. On February the 8th, 2023, the city attorney's office, in conjunction with the outside counsel, scheduled an evidentiary hearing without notifying me of such setting. No proper notice or service was executed as required under Section 8.07A1. In addition, I suspect that a report recommending the acceptance or rejection was unlawfully submitted to the commission by the outside counsel, constituting a violation of the Ethics Code, Section 8.05C. This section clearly stipulates that outside counsel doesn't have the legal authority to recommend the acceptance or rejection, as this must be done by the commission. I can only assume that this action was probably done to negatively influence the commission. In addition, on February the 8th, the agenda noted that a report of findings was going to be introduced during the evidentiary hearing. This report was probably done without contacting me or any of my witnesses. As of today, I have not heard from outside counsel as required under Section 8.07 of evidentiary rules. In addition, I believe that Ms. Soto is conflicted as she and Mr. Stone were business partners they both practice together in the same law firm, and they hold a friendship, supported by the fact that I was never notified by the city attorney who he had appointed outside counsel, as he assured he immediately will notify me on January the 12th, a day after I filed my complaint. I had advised Mr. Stone that I had additional materials I needed to introduce to this person. After learning about the agenda item, knowing of their friendship, I took a chance of contacting Ms. Soto to confirm that she had been hired by Stone to serve as outside counsel, and she confirmed. Also, I took the time to review the minutes from prior Ethics Commission meetings available at the City of Laredo Ethics website, and I encourage the Commission to look at them too. Based on what I saw, I learned that the first setting is always an assessment to determine whether the commission has jurisdiction, not an evidentiary hearing like they tried to impose on February the 8th. Without letting me know, I didn't receive any calls, any text messages, or proper service as directed on Section 8.07. Simply, they set a hearing without me. Thankfully, I learned through other sources that a setting had been scheduled. I just gave birth. I'm currently on maternity leave and suspended, which I will further explain, suspended with no pay, and I'll further explain as I want to introduce.
3 minutes, sir.
Do we have a limitation on the 3 minutes as this is an actual item and
It's
not
an
an,
agenda item.
because I know
I think
for.
I think it's only for public comments.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
correct.
okay.
So there is no 3 minutes.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
So for me, I come before this ethic commission knowingly that I feel that certain ethics violations have occurred. And my experience during this process has been nothing but constant violations of actual sections of this code. These laws were passed and voted by the people in 2011 who gave this commission the authority to make sure that every citizen receives a fair review process, and unfortunately, that has not been my experience. After further reviewing the minutes of these settings, I learned that outside counsel is actually hired. They usually hire people from outside, and they often affiliated with Texas Municipal League. In this case, they hire Ms. Soto, and with all due respect, as per what I know, I don't think Ms. Soto has ever represented a municipal body, including a commission or a committee. So it is in the best interest of that commission and of every individual that intends to file a complaint, or in this case, Ms. Soto and myself, who are here before you to express our allegations on ethics violations that we received, what other individuals before us have received in the past. Outside counsel, an affiliate of a Texas Municipal League. In addition, I made copies of previous meetings and agendas for your reference. And like I noted earlier, the first sitting, it's always an assessment, which is what we're doing today, not what they intended to do on February the 8th. And I don't know what's the justification of them setting an evidentiary hearing as opposed to legal sufficiency and jurisdiction setting. So without being said, I just want to remind this commission that the ethics compliant officer, who is now an outside counsel, it's hired because there's an alleged conflict of interest. Whenever an individual files a complaint against the city manager, the city council, the mayor, and the city attorney's office, they are required to hire outside counsel, and this just to assure that it's a fair process. So the outside counsel will serve a very prominent role in both of our complaints. It will serve as a middle person between the Ethics Commission, the complainant, and the respondent. Therefore, I implore that this person is qualified, experienced, and unbiased. Based on all the affirmation events, it is clear that either this party is not familiar with the rules and/or is not acting in good faith. It is the role of this commission to ensure that a fair review process is given to all of those who appear before them. On behalf of myself and so many city employees who are resistant to filing complaints because of this ongoing refusal by persons in authority to follow the rules adopted by the people in 2011 under the Ethics Code, that I pray that an independent, unbiased, experienced, and qualified member of the Texas Municipal League representative is appointed as the outside counsel and ethics compliance officer. Thank you.
Presentation from
Yes.
Soto, please.
I'd like to address some of the issues that were brought up. The February 8th meeting was intended to be a legal sufficiency meeting. It was recalled when the agenda noted that it was an evidentiary hearing, which was incorrect. It was never intended to be such, and no evidentiary hearing took place, and she was given proper notification of the agenda. She cited to the fact that I cannot recommend acceptance or rejection. As a matter of fact, I can. I can review the legal sufficiency, and under 805 B, some of my duties are to review the complaints for legal sufficiency, and under 8.054, I can recommend acceptance or rejection of that complaint. I would like to address the issue about my relationship and my friendship with Mr. Zonwin, the city attorney. I do have a friendship with him. I have a friendship with more than one attorney here in town. It's a small legal community. It had no bearing on my report to you as far as legal sufficiency. As far as me not being a TMLA approved attorney, there have been other TMLA attorneys that have been before the Ethics Commission. That's not a requirement. And for my presentation, I would like to ask the commission if they're going to have an open session. You are allowed. This is going to be dealing with personnel matters, or you might need to seek legal counsel from me to do it in an open session or do it in an executive session. If we're seeking legal counsel, or if it's going to be involved with personnel issue for the city of Laredo.
May I have the floor, please? I just want to make a correction on the ethics code. As per section 8.05, ethics compliance officer, under C, outside independent counsel, it states, an independent outside attorney who does not otherwise represent the city shall be appointed by the city attorney with the same duties and authority under section 8.05, A1, A2, A3, A6, A7, and A8, ethics compliance officer, who shall be entitled to respond to reasonable compensation to perform its duties for a particular case. If you notice, this section doesn't make reference to A4 and A5. And if you go back to section A05, Ethics Compliance Officer, 4 states, recommend acceptance or rejection of complaints made by the Ethics Commission. 5, act as legal counsel to the Ethics Commission on matters related to the content of the ethics ordinance. As legal counsel to the Ethics Commission, the city attorney may not represent any person or party in proceedings before the Ethics Commission. So you do not have the legal authority to proceed as outside counsel and advise the commission whether they accept or reject my complaint. And this setting is simply to define jurisdiction. And if there was to have an allegation of a possible violation of the ethics code, yes or not. We're not here to determine whether my allegations are true or not true at this point. That will be done at the evidentiary hearing. At this point, it's simply to
Well,
decide whether you all have jurisdiction or not.
I mean, according to the agenda here, we're talking about whether there's legal sufficiency for this to move forward for an evidentiary hearing or not.
Absolutely,
So-
but like I stated
Yeah.
by Ms. Soto, she doesn't have the legal jurisdiction under ethics laws to proceed since she doesn't have the
Are
authority.
you saying
or
she's
to apply
conflicted out?
or-
Is that, are you saying she's conflicted out?
I mean,
Or
I'm
what are
saying
you
that they're
saying?
not following the rules. That's the reason why I'm here today,
Okay.
to report this. And now outside counsel, it's making same violations. Not the same section that I reported to, but she's not in compliance with the ethics code. That's why it's important that we hire someone that has done this in the past. That's a fair thing to do for me and for the other citizen. And with all due respect, I know Ms. Soto, but I don't think it's fair. I didn't get okay, so it was said as per the agenda on February the 8th, it was stipulated there that there was a report of findings. I mean, it didn't say whether, it didn't talk about legal sufficiency or anything. What report were you able to produce without contacting me or any of the witnesses at that level?
Well, like I said, this can be handled through executive session, or it can be handled in an open session. It's gonna deal with a personnel matter. I do feel that I am authorized to proceed in giving you my presentation as to what I saw as far as legal sufficiency. I'm not discussing
Okay, so
any findings. I'm only here as far as the agenda today to discuss the legal sufficiency for today's purposes, nothing else.
Okay, but you do not have the authority to recommend acceptance or rejection.
But I
Okay.
can give a presentation
Yes.
to them in executive session or in an open session as they choose.
Okay, well, the commission, do you see a need to do an executive session to discuss whether?
I would prefer executive session.
Okay, if you want to make that motion. we can-
I'd make the motion that we go into executive session to hear the presentation by outside counsel.
I have a question.
Okay,
Since
is there a sec,
Sorry.
I think we're okay,
I have additional events that I would like to introduce as part of my original complaint, constituting of several events that have evolved since I filed my complaint.
Is there
The
a
motion
second?
on the floor.
Is there? Second. Okay. So is everybody in agreement to go to executive session? Please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. We're going to go into executive session now. Thank you.
Y'all come with us?
The recording, yeah, I'm just gonna put it on.
Yes, I'm all right.
That will be next on the agenda.
Okay, because I think Mr. Martinez is here representing Alisa, right? You're appointed by Alisa?
I was appointed by her. I don't represent her in a legal capacity, no. Okay, so at this time, I would like to call the meeting back in session, 6:24. We're back from the executive session. We discussed whether Ms. Soto had the authority to make her presentation on Agenda B regarding the presentation of legal sufficiency for the complaint of Ms. Karina Elizondo. And is there a motion to hear that presentation after the recommendation in executive?
I so move.
Okay. You? Second. So at this time, Council Ms. Soto, if you can present your recommendation to the commission.
Just as a point of order, there needs to be a call for the question and a vote on the motion.
Everybody said aye?
Aye.
Thank you. So I did review the ethics complaint that was filed by Ms. Karina Elizondo against Rosario Cabello, at that time the interim city manager. The documents that I reviewed were her complaint and all attached evidence and attachments. I reviewed the city ethics code, the city charter and city ordinances that were cited therein. The particular section that Ms. Elizondo claimed was violated was section 2.02 of the city ethics code section, which is titled unfair advancement of private interest. The particular private interest that she claimed was being unfairly advanced by Ms. Cabello was to have her terminated from employment. I thoroughly reviewed everything. There were no other private interests that were listed in the complaint, other than the one that she felt was unfairly targeting her as a basis for termination from the city of Laredo. And the relevant part, section 2.02 of the city ethics code, it states that a city official or an employee shall not use his or her official position to unfairly advance or impede private interests, or to grant or secure or attempt any considerations, treatment, exemption, or advantage beyond that which is lawfully available to other persons. In this case, I reviewed the definitions under the city ethics code and under section 1. There is no particular definition or specific definition for a private interest, but in reading section 2.02, there is no mention of anything that would tie in a termination as a private interest. Section 2.02 deals solely with conflicts of interest arising out of an economic or pecuniary interest. Ms. Elizondo does have a list of all the incidents that she alleged occurred during her employment as the director of the Animal Control Services Department, but I don't see any legal tie-in with the city ethics code as to any furtherance of an economic or pecuniary interest as contemplated by the conflict of interest rules and the unfair advancement, which is what she cited. Having said that, there might be other avenues for her to consider, but I think that under the city ethics code, there's nothing that the allegations she made, I don't believe trigger a violation of section 2.02 for an unfair advancement of a private interest. Like I said, we are allowed to look at other cities' code sections that she may not have cited, because she only cited one. But that subsection 2.02 is directly under the conflicts of interest. That only deals with economic interest. It doesn't deal with anything regarding any possible issues or any targeting. Ms. Elizondo also attached as evidence the harassment policy of the city of Laredo, but that's not a city ethics code violation. That's not part of the jurisdiction of the committee, of the commission. So based on the complaint as filed, I do not believe that there is a pecuniary or economic or private interest that's being furthered by any alleged acts of Ms. Cabello as alleged in the complaint.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Soto. At this time, would the commission make a motion on whether or not there's legal sufficiency for the complaint filed by Ms. Karina Elizondo? You had one last comment, or?
Just wanted to remind the commission that as per the ethics code, this is simply a jurisdiction setting. I want to remind the commission that as per section 8.04 complaints, it talks about filings and contents, and it specifically states that a sworn affidavit must be filed, which I did, and in addition to that, it says, the complaint shall swear to the facts by oath before a notary public or other person authorized by law and to administer oaths under penalty or prejudice. The complaint itself must state on its face an allegation that, if true, constitutes a violation of a law administered and enforced by the commission in writing under oath, and must set forth in simple, concise, and direct statements. And it's pretty simple. In addition to that, in my complaint, I reserve the right, it states, further, I reserve the right to amend and supplement this complaint drafted quickly due to recent events where the abuse by respondent or her position is causing irrelevant damage to the Animal Care Services Department and my health. I have not submitted all the documentation, and as required by this ethics code under section 8.07 evidentiary hearing, I have 3 days prior to that hearing to submit to this commission witness statements, a list of other witnesses, and any other relevant information. As per the section that I am claiming, which is abuse of authority, Ms. Soto is defining it specifically at financial advancement. Yet this hearing is to determine whether or not whether it's true or not what I allege on my complaint, whether or not this will constitute an ethics violation, whether or not my complaint constitutes an ethics violation, and whether or not you guys have jurisdiction. So the fact that I provided a copy of the sexual harassment, that was just an attachment of all the documentation that I had submitted in one event. I listed over 8 events. Ms. Soto has not made the attempt to contact me to see if I have any other documentation as noted on my complaint. She hasn't made any reference or anything. I just want to remind the commission that this is solely to determine whether there's legal sufficiency. If these allegations were to be true, will they constitute a violation, and whether or not this ethics commission has jurisdiction. And I think that my complaint, and as noted before, and just for the record, I want to introduce to this commission additional violations that have evolved since the filing of this complaint, including Mr. Zone forcing me to talk to Ms. Cabello, which is the respondent. As per this code, he has no authority because there's a conflict of interest, and that's why outside counsel was retained to discuss this complaint with her or with me, much less forcing me. And I have this conversation recorded, and there's a witness as well, in which Mr. Zone contacted me on the 13th.
I'm sorry, is the agenda today against Mr. Zone?
No, I
Okay.
mean, it's
Because you can,
several events have evolved after the filing of my complaint involving respondent Rosario Cabello, acting city manager, and people acting on behalf, including but not limited to city attorney. These events aggravate injury and damages to my complaint. So to answer your question, it involves Ms. Cabello, and it's a list of
the
events. and
complaint in
people.
front of us
Yes,
is against Ms. Cabello?
yes, sir.
Okay.
And to address the jurisdictional issue, you do have the authority to make a decision today under section 8.06, adjudicated powers of the commission. If you look at that, you do have the power to dispose or
Thank you.
investigate the complaint as you wish. You do have jurisdiction to decide that, and you have the authority to decide whether it's the allegations as listed in her complaint are a violation of city ethics code.
And I humbly ask that this commission move forward with allowing this, the evidentiary to take place. In that evidentiary hearing, we'll have the opportunity to present to you the real facts of every single allegation that has been made on my complaint. You will then decide whether or not each allegation is true or not, whether or not it has substance. That will be determined at the evidentiary hearing. It is my belief that I should have the opportunity to make it to the second stage of this process. That will be fair to me, especially because I'm claiming that everything that has been done, and as you will read on your complaints, and as I stand to you before during my maternity leave, and as a suspended employee with no pay as a result of retaliation of my filings complaint, of my ethics complaint, I think that it is the right thing to do and to be fair, to allow me the opportunity to present to you my facts, my truth on the evidentiary hearing. This is the right thing to do, not only to me, but to set the example to all of those employees who are scared or speaking up because of this thing. And that's exactly why I implore to this commission that you hire somebody that understands the rules. I did not question whether she has the authority to talk about legal sufficiency. That's the reason why we're here. I noted specifically that she has no authority to make a recommendation to the committee, whether of acceptance or rejection. Please allow me the opportunity to present to you my truth on my evidentiary hearing. I have a right to speak, especially because I'm about to lose everything. I got suspended after there was a meeting set here on February the 8th, and even though she claims I get notice, I don't, and I challenge her to give me proof of the service or certified mail that you sent to me, claiming to this commission today that I got notified of the setting on February the 8th. You all got a notification that it was canceled. I didn't. I had just given birth 8 days prior to that setting. I had to make arrangements to be here. I had to change my whole day to attend to this because I didn't want them to proceed without me. The media was here. They approached me. They asked me specifically. There were individuals that attended this hearing that they were told that the meeting was canceled. The media approached me and asked me, why was the meeting canceled? And I said, I don't know. I did not receive notice of this setting. I didn't receive notice that it was canceled. 2 days after, on Friday, I got suspended with no pay for 10 days. And I will show you guys that clip. I never discussed my employment or anything outside. Just noted that I had filed an ethics complaint for abuse of authority and that I did not receive notice of that hearing like you all did, and and I did not receive notice of the cancellation. And I implore this commission to give me the right to present today to you an evidentiary hearing, to present my facts and to go through the whole process. Thank you.
Is there any other questions from the commissioners at this time? Well, at this time, would somebody like, again, to make a motion whether there is sufficient legal sufficiency for Ms. Ms. Karina Elizondo's complaint to move forward under 202, unfair advancement of private interests?
I'll make the motion that it's not legally sufficient under the Code of Ethics to proceed with an investigation.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Everyone's in favor. Motion passed.
Chairman, may we make a statement? May I make a
You may
statement?
make a statement, yes,
I'd like
of
to make
course.
a statement to
Please.
Ms. Elizondo. What we've been informed, Ms. Elizondo, is under the ethics, under the definition that are provided, the definitions that are provided in the ethics code based on your complaint, that your complaint, based on the definitions provided in the code, does not meet the criteria. So on the basis of the issue of private interest, but that does not mean that you do not have other avenues to explore for the issues that you're voicing, which sound concerning. In my opinion, they sound concerning, but they don't appear to meet the standards set forth by the ethics code. But I would urge you to look for remedies. Certainly much of what you're alleging falls under the umbrella of human resources. I would urge you to seek other remedies, other avenues to address the concerns that you have, which appear to me to be concerning, though not under the umbrella of the ethics code.
Okay, as noted on my complaint, I have not been able to submit all of the information that belongs to my complaint. So the fact that it's been noted that it doesn't meet that criteria based on that particular section, which is truly abuse of authority. I never claimed that it was financial interest that she had. Based on all of the allegations that I listed there, how is that not gonna be a violation of authority if I've been constantly targeted in every single one of those events that I listed and the ones that I have introduced to you all today? And my question to our outside counsel about the information that was submitted today, which is supplemental to my complaint, would that be jurisdiction of that commission as well?
I have not reviewed it, but I'm certain if it does, you can file a new ethics complaint with that information for review. I've been able to look at it since you gave it to us today.
Then I humbly ask for this commission to reconsider the current motion. I don't know if it passed or not, but to allow me the opportunity to include as supplemental and as noted on my complaint to introduce this events, which are part of my complaint, because all of those events took place after I filed on January the 11th. I had been constantly targeted as listed out there, so I can properly include those events on my complaint.
I can be corrected by legal counsel, but my understanding is that the reason why it failed to meet the standards was because you had filed them under a particular 2.02,
2.02.
which dealt with private interests and economic interests, correct?
So you're already making that determination that there,
I believe that's the way it was filed as per your filing. And
Yes.
so if there's another recourse or another avenue that you can take regarding the ethics code, possibly that's up to you. But that's the understanding, that's the way it was interpreted
and then
for
as
us.
per the ethics code, you all have the jurisdiction to look within the ethics code to see if any of those allegations meet other parts of this section.
If you file them, we will consider them
No, I
under
know, but
those
as per the ethics,
sections.
as per the ethics code, it gives you guys the authority to, if it did not meet that particular, section, if there's any other violation, section, any other section that will constitute the violation.
Okay. That was open to discussion, if there is a reconsideration. If not, I believe there was a motion that presented for no legal sufficiency. It was second, and we can take the vote again, but
So it's dismissed practically because I'm not an
Not
attorney and I
dismissed.
filed the incorrect section.
yeah.
So it's being dismissed literally because I'm not an attorney and I incorrectly made reference to another
I
section.
think
So
what Ms. Rudy's saying is that you have a chance to file under the proper ethics code and seek other legal remedies. For example, HR department would be one. Or refile under the proper ethics code with the proper, I know you said you had other evidence, with the proper evidence for the commission to hear, unless I misunderstood what.
No, that's correct.
Okay.
And just to add, I did make a mention that I reviewed all the city code ethics, and I didn't see anything that triggered any violation of the ethics code, not just 2.02. I specifically mentioned that one because that's the one she listed, but I did look at all the others, and there was nothing that, to me, triggered an ethical violation.
Of course not. You are conflicted, and just for the record, did you make any contact? I just want to know to this commission, did you make any contact to reach out to me? As I noted on my complaint that there was additional information missing that would supplement.
I'm not required, and I reviewed your complaint thoroughly. And like I mentioned earlier, I also know you. And don't hold any ill will to Ms. Elizondo, we know each other. I reviewed it, and like I've been told, there might be other avenues for you to see. You can file another ethics complaint with the information you provided us today. But as far as what you presented, I didn't see any ethical violations, and that was my presentation to the Ethics Committee today.
Thank you.
So just to reiterate, is everybody in favor of the motion that was presented for insufficiency, legal sufficiency under this complaint, which was second, and everybody that's in favor say aye at this time.
We already did, didn't we?
And we did just
We
to
already-
reiterate
Oh,
for
to
her
reiterate?
discussion.
Aye. Okay.
Yeah,
For the initial one, yeah.
Aye.
okay.
However, just so you know, you can't redo it under the correct sections.
I hope I don't get fired.
Okay, well, so everybody's in favor, and that agenda item is now, the motion is passed on that particular B item. Now, the next item to be reviewed on the agenda for today is a presentation from outside counsel acting as the compliance officer regarding an ethics complaint filed by Ms. Patricia Soto on February 9th, 2023, alleging violations of the Laredo Ethics Code particularly Section 201, which is titled Conflict of Interest, and Section 202, titled Unfair Advancement of Private Interest, and any other matters that are incident thereto.
Mr. Chair, Pro Tem, I'm going to abstain from participation in this particular item. I don't believe that I am legally required to do so, and have sought counsel from the City Attorney's Office. However, I am distantly related to Councilmember Melissa Ciaroa, and
Okay.
although I am not prohibited by law,
You are not.
I am choosing to abstain from.
Okay, then that raises interesting question, counsel. If we have four,
We lack a quorum.
we lack quorum, I believe. So we would have to, because of that abstention, we would have to reschedule
Right.
this item.
Four is not quorum?
Not under 8.
We need a
We need
minimum,
five.
from what I understand.
Okay.
Council
All
can
right.
confirm. I'm no expert in city law,
Okay.
but I believe this may be a situation that we do not have a quorum to discuss today, but we can table this item as postpone it. If council, you have a different opinion, then we would like to seek your advisement at this time.
So under 8.06, the Ethics Commission may not take any action without the presence of a quorum. 5 members shall constitute a quorum. That's 8.06 of the Ethics Code. So due to the abstention and the non-participation from Ms. Lisa Paul, then we do not have a quorum and we cannot go forward with any action today.
Okay, that is clear enough to me. If anybody has any objection to that determination, please let us know.
I just want to make it also clear for the record that this does not preclude the complainant from coming back as long as we have a quorum, 5 people, to decide your case. It would just be rescheduled, so nothing is being decided today, it's just being rescheduled. Okay.
Okay. That takes care of item 4 of the agenda. Or There's a typo there, but 5 is, oh, okay. Next, I do not see another agenda item. It is now, we would move to the adjournment. If nobody has any other further questions or concerns, then we would need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. The meeting is now adjourned at 6:49, February 22, 2023. Thank you, everyone.